Maplestory the Novel, Season 1, Sacred Tears. Written by Tatsumari Korisuno. Chapter 12, Part 1. Life. Secretly, Ariel became ecstatic to finally meet Dane in person, holding him and physically looking into his eyes through her own, and not some lens of a pseudo-body. For Dane, the adjustment was far more significant. Her angelic beauty did well to hide her daunting power. Ariel took him by the hand and showed her home to Dane, explaining everything as they walked. The most prominent feature was the Gate of the Past. 3 doors stood at the end of a hall made purely of magic, appearing as thin, vine-like designs. The first door, colored green, led to the Hall of Memory, where every memory of every person was stored in countless scrolls. At the door and inside the hall stood the Memory Knights. These creatures appeared as floating chest plates of armor and helmets, sporting plumes of fabric-like green fire from the torso and helm. The scrolls were tended by the monks of the green, clothed in full-body robes with long sleeves, while a white, smiling mask covered their faces. To the right was the Corridor of Regrets. Its door was blue, while ice encroached up its pillars. Beyond the door was a mausoleum of hourglasses. The grains of sand within them represented every choice not taken that may have led to some other favorable outcome. It also housed every pending choice that could lead to personal loss, great or small, or have consequences that remained yet unseen. Qualm Knights, similar in appearance to the Memory Knights save for blue fire, guarded the corridor. Within the corridor were dozens of monks of the blue, dropping new sand grains into the hourglasses as new regrets came into being. To the left of the Hall of Memory was a door of red. Smoldering rocks infected the marble of the floor, smoking as though it were lava.
Is there some fire-breathing creature behind this door?
Dane asked, creeping closer to the door only to back away because of the heat emanating from the rocks. Ariel chuckled at his action.
No, nothing so primal. This is the Chamber of Oblivion. Here, a record of everything that everyone was unaware of in their life is kept.
Unaware of? Why would such a record be kept?
It is a way to show people signs and warnings from their past, so that similar events can be avoided in the future. It is unfortunate, but it is the only way for humans to gain wisdom.
You once told me things were hidden from you. Is this one such thing?
It is. Only my mother, Minerva, and those of the Red are allowed through this door. This is the chamber I spoke of when you asked about the journal and those before you,
Ariel said, looking over the door with a disappointed sigh.
Why should you be barred from somewhere in your own home?
Dane asked, trying to spy what he could through the crack between the doors.
I have asked that very question of my mother. She will only answer that those who are oblivious to what things could have existed are only shown them when discovery is made on their own. If all is revealed, the infinite choices will leave one frozen in uncertainty and regret. She has never given me any more of an answer than that.
Dane maneuvered to allow him a small glimpse of a vast space within, housing millions upon millions of bowl oil lamps upon golden stands. Thousands of Oblivion Knights stood silently as the red fabric-like flames thundered below and above them.
Have you seen all you wish, visitor of the goddess?
A stern, hollow, metallic voice asked. Dane jumped and turned to see another Oblivion Knight. This one was darker, almost black, with gold designs on its chest, and a gold chain hanging from the spike pauldrons across its chest.
Yes. No. I haven't seen anything.
Heavy, blackened gauntlets slid out from the holes in the shoulders, hanging beside its body.
Goddess, Why have you brought a human to this area?
The knight asked dryly as its glowing white eyes appeared in the helm.
This is Dane, my contracted and beloved. I would assume someone such as he would be allowed to visit here under my guidance and supervision.
He may be one with which you have contracted, but the fact still remains that he is human. And if records from the Hall of Memory serve as any sort of projection, humans tend to pry into things that are better left alone.
The knight floated between them, escorting them away from the door, standing with a great axe in its hands once they were far enough out.
How strange that even a goddess is forbidden from entering a place of her own home.
Dane commented. Ariel chuckled a bit as she took his hand and led him to another part of the temple.
This place was originally the home of my mother Minerva before my brothers and I came to be. There still may yet be secrets I have not found.
Dane peered around the knight and looked to the door behind him.
Seeing as there's no mage before me, would the Hall of Memory contain the journal's origin that started me on the path?
It is a possibility. The Hall of Memory is vast.
Taking his hand once more, they went to the hall and requested the monk's help that roamed there. Hours passed as they searched innumerable scrolls for any mention of where the journal came from. No matter how long they searched, any mention of the journal would only go as far back as when Dane found it within the knowledge depository in Margata.
Seeing as the journal is from the future, then there should be no mention of its origins in the past.
Dane surmised. Ariel closed the scroll in her hand, handing it back to a monk before answering.
That would explain much. But the future is so fluid, as it has yet to happen, that anything will alter time, whether in a massive or small way.
Is there a gate to the future?
Dane questioned, leaning against a column within the hall.
There is such a gate which shows all of time yet to be, even timelines parallel to our own. It is a place of infinite possibilities where nothing is ever certain.
She put away a scroll and took him by the hand, leading him to a large mirror framed in golden sand, constantly in motion.
With this, I have seen a great disaster looming on the horizon of recent time if the world continues without deviation.
What is this?
Dane asked with awe, reaching out and letting the velvety sand making up the frame wash over his skin.
What is this?
Dane asked with awe, reaching out and letting the velvety sand making up the frame wash over his skin.
This is a mirror of time. It is a small window into the gate of the future. Here, I can see what actions will lead to the most favorable result.
Ariel waved her hand over the mirror as the image she had studied for so long appeared in it. The split road of time loomed over them like a dark cloud.
Though it is never certain, I can see the fine details, but they always deviate when it becomes reality. I can, and have, forced time to flow a certain way for an exact outcome, but that has always led to disastrous results.
Turning back to the scene she presented, Ariel waved her hand over the mirror again, revealing the children who could be the ultimate weapon against the darkness.
If this is what we did for the world, we could save it from disaster.
Dane took in the entire scene, stepping back to better see the full view where time split to peace or destruction.
Who are these children? And what does it have to do with us?
They are one or both of our children. They will lead our world to a state of peace.
Dane slowly let go of her hand and stepped away from her.
Am I nothing but a tool to you?
Ariel moved to him, taking his hand and putting her other around him.
Above all, you are the one I have chosen. If this disaster did not exist, I would still have chosen you.
Dane tried to pull away again, but Ariel held on to his hand.
Is that something you saw in your mirror?
No, I feel this in my soul. This disaster can be avoided by our union, our light. From what I know of human tales, a child is often a combination of their love. I would say that our love, our light, would create a child who is not only a symbol of our love, but a warrior of light to ensure the world would be guided to peace.
Dane sighed, lowering his brow and remaining silent. He understood her reasoning, but the knowledge that he might just be a pawn in a game of deities stung. He began to question his time with Minodora. Was he also using her as a piece to advance his own mission and goals?
Come, there are still things that I wish to show you.
Ariel soothed, leading him to another part of the temple where countless fountains of sand stood sentry along the paths. She could see her plan wasn't received as well as she hoped, and he would need time to process his thoughts and feelings. James fell to his knees, his chest burning for breath as Pharamund blasted an omen away. They were called to the deserts of Ariant to escort the Queen's caravan to and from Orion.
These damned omens are getting tougher by the day.
Pharamund huffed, looking around to ensure there were no more shadow creatures. But at least there are fewer of them. How long has it been since Master Dane left? James asked, waving to the caravan to signal that all was clear to begin moving again.
Just over 2.5 months. I hope that whatever he's after, it's going to be worth the wait. I don't think Mars or Viren can contain Orchid or Lotus much longer.
You and me both. Those little terrors are getting out of hand. Their magical power is getting stronger and stronger as Mars teaches them.
Mars knows magic? Since when? I didn't think that Master Dane would even teach us any magic beyond using the light through these shining rods,
Pharamund said, shaking his staff to add emphasis.
Master Dane didn't teach him anything. Mars is the one expanding his own knowledge. I've been searching here and there to expand my own skills as well. As far as I'm aware, Master Dane didn't say we couldn't learn any magic beyond the orders. It could be he's just been too busy to teach us any,
James answered, wiping the sweat from his forehead.
Well then, it's no wonder you can overpower these omens so much more easily than me.
Pharamund laughed, the rest of the trip to Ariant remaining peaceful. The guard captain handed them a large bag of miso for their services or protection once they had returned to the palace.
I suppose now we can return to Aurora,
Pharamund asked, securing the bag within his knapsack. James nodded, squaring his shoulders and cracking his back.
It'll be good to sleep in my own bed again.
And a bath. I didn't think I'd even know what it felt like to have dirt skin.
They laughed heartily as they turned towards home, holding up newly created prisms, allowing them to teleport directly to the chapel. As they turned the crystals to catch the sun's light, a rough man stepped from a nearby road, loosely holding a dagger. Pharamund and James lowered their arms, tucking the crystal back into their belt.
Can we help you?
James asked, shifting the hold on his staff.
You two are part of that sect I've heard about, killing off those shadow creatures?
The man said, tightening his grip on the dagger.
We are clerics of the Aurora, yes. What can we do for you?
James pressed. The man brought the dagger to bear as 4 other men stepped out from the alleyways around them.
Then you aren't doing your job well enough. All of us have lost family to those things.
Pharamund shifted his staff hold to a more aggressive position when James put his hand on his shoulder.
These men are hurting, Pharamund. They are seeds of omens. We need to help them before it becomes worse,
James whispered, handing off his staff to him and stepping forward.
I'm sorry you've lost your family. I can't imagine the pain you carry.
James had furthered his research of darkness, studying grief and its stages of release. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. This man appeared to have latched onto his anger, wishing to channel it somewhere. The Aurora happened to be the target of choice.
Don't insult me! You're the one responsible! You waste your time escorting nobles and princes, while the rest of us are left to die of starvation and get butchered by those foul monsters!
James held out his hand as he neared, slowly stepping closer.
I'm not trying to be mean. You've suffered, but channeling your anger like this won't honor their memory.
James stepped within arm's reach of the man, lowering his arm to his side. Pharamund noticed the others inching closer, making him shift his stance lower.